there are terrible people in every industry. There are terrible people that have no money, and there are terrible people that have tons of money.
Totally.
Getting money doesn't inherently make you terrible, and not having money doesn't inherently make you good.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. So that's a big piece of it, is understanding, is it okay for us to have money? And so it's funny, we have another podcast called The Wealthy Christian. So that's why, like, our sign back here doesn't say wealthy creative or wealthy Christian, either one. It says wealthy on purpose, because we are here on purpose for a purpose, and we want to acquire wealth so that we can give back and that we can have an impact on the people around us. It's not so that we can hoard resources and that we can basically like disparage everyone around us, and just like hoard things and make it all about us and start worshiping money. Like, it has nothing to do with that, quite the opposite. And if you're a believer who's wanting to like have more depth spiritually as it relates to your finances, your family, and your faith, then I highly recommend checking out the Wealthy Christian podcast as well. Absolutely. That I do with my wife, Megan. But we're here talking about the wealthy creative. And so in order to pursue wealth, you have to understand that wealth is okay to have, or even good to have, right? Because you won't actively become something that you oppose or hate.
I also think it's important, like, for people to understand that, like, I don't think that you're not born with this mindset. You create this mindset over time, right? So, like, for you, what was your view on wealth before you started Grindstone? Like, when you started your first business, like, what was your view on wealth? Like,
yeah, Grindstone was my first business, and my view on wealth right from the very beginning, thank God, because I had great parents that spoke into this. My first view, or my first like understanding of wealth, was that like there are amazing people in the world that have lots of money. And so like I was parented by my parents, by like several members of my family, and never did they make the association of that person's a terrible person because they have money. Really, they would speak to their character and say like, we don't trust them, whatever. But it would never be because they have money, they're a terrible person. Like, that was never the case. So
you aligned based off of like morals more than just like, oh, they made $1 million.
Yeah, like we judge people off of their character, not what's in their bank account. And if you're ever going to pursue or like be okay with getting money, you have to not hate the idea of getting rich. And so there's a lot of like deprogramming that I think we're going to do on this show, where we like unprogram people's limiting beliefs about money, and honestly, that it's a good thing to be rich, to be wealthy, because you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't impact the world around you financially if you're barely surviving yourself.